Welcome to Out of Bounds.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Maria Montgomery, joined by Dan Reefer and Alex Walker. What a win for the Wildcats in Gainesville yesterday. The second largest comeback in the John Calipari era, and maybe the best, all things considered.
Yeah, we're going to get to the Ashton Hagans situation. He did not make the trip with the team for this game against Florida.
We'll also check out the SEC tournament bracket and what lies ahead for the Wildcats, but we begin by looking back at how UK pulled off that wild win against the Gators. Kentucky was pretty awful in the first half. The Gators jumped out to a 7-0 lead and then grew that lead to 11. The Gators finished the half with an emphatic slam to take a 40-30 advantage into the locker room. And then in the second half, Calipari got a technical called on the UK bench for being out of the coaching box. What else? Then he drew another one and thought he was tossed. Went to the locker room. But again, the first one was actually on the UK bench, even though he was the cause of it. And less than a minute later, UK was down 18 whopping points.
And then Emmanuel quickly fouled out with 9 minutes to go. I mean,
game over, right?
It's over. Well, over the final 12 minutes of the game, UK made 13 of 19 shots, including 3 of 4 from 3, had 0 turnovers, and outscored the Gators 32-13. Kentucky out-rebounded Florida by 12 in the second half, including 10 offensive rebounds. UK winds up with a 15-point advantage on second-chance points for the game. 5 different Wildcats hit 3-pointers.
And Nick Richards, how good was he? He was a difference maker, scoring 17 second-half points. But after Keon Brooks got the Cats within 1 at 70-69 with a minute to go, Calipari called his number again to win it. He missed, but E.J. Montgomery, with 12 seconds left, gave UK its first lead of the game. Initially, the officials did not count the basket, but then reviewed it, and that rule only exists, guys. Remember last year when LSU beat UK in Rupp last season on a tip-in that should have been basket interference, but they couldn't review it. Here's that second angle of that. Now they can. They reviewed it. They reversed it, and UK gets that huge win on the road, 71-70.
And let's get to the post-game comments presented by Bob Allen Motor Mall.
I told him at halftime, this is like being in the NCAA tournament. You don't play well. The other team plays well. Nick's 1 for 8, looks so bad. He doesn't look like he's on the floor. Should we go to the bus and surrender? Or do you guys want to fight? It's the only 2 options.
We came together and said, you know, we got 12 minutes and just go out and fight and compete and leave it all on the floor. We knew we had enough time to come back. We believed in each other. Then coaching staff kept believing in us, so we just went out there and left it all on the floor.
And, you know, this game gave us a higher seed in our conference tournament. It didn't. And they're pouring water on each other in there. So they love to win. But we've been in so many close games, it's incredible. I can't tell you, every game with 2 minutes to go is anybody's ball game. And so, you know, when we lose, it's total silence.
So Kentucky finishes the regular season at 25-6, which is the 7th consecutive season with at least 25 wins under John Calipari and 10th in his 11 years at UK. In the decade before Coach Cal, the Cats had just 3 seasons of 25 or more wins.
Not bad. And that comeback yesterday, I mean, that might have been the best in the Calipari era. The biggest was 2017 at Rupp Arena. Vandy had a 25-6 lead, but that was 8 minutes to go in the first half. This one against the Gators, a bit more impressive.
Especially considering Emmanuel Quickley's last points came with 19 minutes to go in the game. 19, and then he fouled out, and Tyrese Maxey made just 1 field goal the entire game. Then, of course, you had no Ashton Hagans, your point guard. Those are your 3 guards who have carried you all season long.
Well, Calipari was asked about Hagans after the game. Why didn't he make the trip to Gainesville, and will he be back with the team for that SEC tournament?
I would fully expect him to be, but I haven't talked to him. So I'll probably talk to him Monday sometime.
Yeah, we missed him out there. We know he was cheering us on and supporting us. Yeah, I mean, we missed him out there, but, you know, we got to come out still trying to compete and get the W. So I'm super proud of us.
His personal, he just, you know, he came up and said I'm in a bad way.
You know, that's our brother. We love him, but, you know, we can't wait for him to come back. We love him. We're going to pray for him. We're going to be there for him, but we had to do this today without him, and we just got to be patient with him.
My first responsibility is the health and well-being of my players. And when a guy tells me, Coach, I got to step away, I'm with it. Tell me why. Tell me what you're thinking. What is it? bang, I'm good. I'll see you when we get back. And hopefully what you'll see is an inspired young man. And if he doesn't think he's ready for that, then he's not ready. I mean, I'm not. We're going to go with whoever we have.
And there you have it. So coming up next, we will check out the SEC tourney bracket. But next, much more on Nick Richards' performance against the Gators. And Coach Cal said, what about Immanuel Quickley after the game? We're just getting started on Out of Bounds. Welcome back to Out of Bounds. We now dive much deeper into UK's amazing comeback against Florida. It's time for our top plays presented by Kentucky Greenleaf.
Yeah, I know E.J. Montgomery's tip-in won the game, and we'll get to that, but we have to start with Nick Richards. I mean, he made just 1 of 7 shots in the first half, only had 2 rebounds. Second half, 17 of his 19 points, 7 of his 11 shots he hit, grabbed 5 rebounds, and then during a 4.5-minute stretch when UK got the lead down from 64-54 to 68-67, Richards scored 9 of the Cats' 13 points.
I know at halftime I said, Nick, you are so bad right now. If you play, they're only going to remember the second half, and I'm coming at you. We're not going away from you. So you could either be the player you've been all year or look like this.
You know, Coach just gave me the challenge, see if I could turn it around. I took on that challenge. Obviously, you know, we came out with a really big win. It wasn't just me. You know, Johnny, he came out, made a lot of threes. Keon, he shot the ball well. EJ, we wouldn't have won the game if for EJ, he got that tip in. Tyrese, you know, he gave everybody the ball. He gave everybody good looks. You know, it was actually a team effort today. It wasn't really just one guy.
Nick played better. I mean, they were still bumping him and moving. He faded on every shot. He closed his eyes on 2. He was 1 for 7 at halftime from 1 foot. Have you ever tried shooting and closing your eyes? I mean, and then in the second half, he, you know.
And now to Keon Brooks, the freshman stepped up big time to help the Cats complete the comeback.
Brooks scored 7 of his 10 points over the game's final 8.5 minutes. He had been 3 of 17 from 3 entering the game, with his last made 3 coming back on December the 7th against Fairleigh Dickinson. He goes 2 for 2 from downtown against the Gators, and he finished 4 of 5 from the field, with his only miss being that last shot that E.J. Montgomery tipped in to win the game.
The last play of the game, biggest play of the game, I went at Keon. And then you look and say, he's only averaging 5 points. Why would you have him make the game-winning play? Because he was playing good. He was the one that had something going. That's what this team is. Whoever has it going, we go to them.
I mean, growing up, hooping, I'm pretty sure, like, that's what everybody dream of, you know. Close game down the stretch, and you want the ball in your hands. Coach was in the huddle. He said, I've been playing my butt off the past few minutes. I was getting good shots and good looks, so he said he was going to come to me. Johnny threw me a great pass to open up the baseline. I shot it. I think I got fouled, but that's besides the point. But EJ came in and saved the day and tipped it in.
And now to the guards, beginning with Tyrese Maxey, who was forced to take over at point guard with Ashton Hagans out.
Maxey makes just 1 of his 11 shots. Now, the 3 he did make was pretty big, helping the Cats get some momentum going towards that comeback. And he made all 4 of his free throws. As far as running the point, Maxey dished out 7 assists to just 1 turnover. He also grabbed 5 rebounds.
I thought Tyrese, at times, was not ready to have the ball in his hands. And then other times he looked like, wow. And that's why when you ask me, when he's going, you got the ball in his hand. When he's not running people over, missing shots, just throwing balls at the rim, you can't do it.
Immanuel Quickley has been so clutch for the Cats over the last month or so, and obviously he's a candidate for SEC Player of the Year. But he fouled out against the Gators with 9 minutes to go.
Yeah, and as far as Quickley's numbers go, they were good. 5 of 8 shooting, 2 for 2 from 3. 12 points, which is his 20th straight game scoring in double figures. That is the longest such streak since Malik Monk did it, in 30 consecutive games in 2017. But his last bucket against the Gators came at the 18:41 mark of the second half. He didn't score again and then fouled out 9 minutes later.
I was really disappointed. I said the biggest play of the game that helped us win was Immanuel fouling out. Why would he grab an arm with 4 fouls? Why did you do that? If you wanted to come out of the game, tell me. He said, I didn't want to come out. You know I didn't want to come out. But he comes out, and all of a sudden we're playing a bunch of young guys, and they played pretty good.
Well, that's an interesting comment from Calipari.
Yeah, I just don't fully understand Calipari's reluctance to praise Quickly, and I'm talking about over the last several weeks when he's been asked specifically about Quickly. Maybe he doesn't want to pump him up too much, but in this game, Quickly had 9 points in the first half that were needed. To say that him fouling out was the biggest thing to helping UK win, I mean, I just don't know.
It is a bit strange, right? One guy who had to step up in Quickly's absence, by the way, was Johnny Juzang.
Yeah, Juzang played a career-high 33 minutes. He went 4 of 6 from the floor, hit a pair of threes, including one that cut the Gators' lead down to 10. That's when you knew the Cats had a chance, right? Get it to 10. The freshman finished with 10 points, just his second career game, scoring in double figures.
Our defense, Johnny and Keon in the first half, I said, you two gave up 25 points. I cannot play you unless you're guarding. Second half, they guarded and rebounded and did a better job and played a big part in us winning, both of those two. Nate, huge today, making shots, second shots, he defended. We need those three for us to do something.
You heard Calipari mention Nate Sestina there. He played 26 minutes and was big on the boards.
Yeah, he was really big on the glass. 5 of Sestina's 6 rebounds came on the offensive glass, and that follow slam cut Florida's lead to 6 with 6 minutes to go. The grad transfer from Bucknell finished with 9 points, knocked down a 3, and drew a team-high 5 fouls in the win.
Yeah.
All right, well, coming up next on Out of Bounds, we take you around the final day of the regular season in the SEC. We'll take a look at that conference tournament bracket and Kentucky's path to another tourney title. Welcome back to Out of Bounds. We're going to take a look at the SEC tourney bracket in a minute, but first, let's take a look at what went down on the final day of the regular season in the SEC.
Auburn's Samir Dowdy hit 8 threes and scored 32 points to help the Tigers win back-to-back games at Tennessee for the first time in school history. Bruce Pearl has now won 5 straight over his former team. Auburn finishes 25-6. Only the 4th season ever with 25 wins or more, 3 of them under Pearl.
And how about Vandy? The Commodores beat South Carolina for their 2nd consecutive conference win for the first time since February of 2018. Hats off to Jerry Stackhouse. Job well done.
No doubt.
And Arkansas did not help its cause to make the NCAA tourney. Texas A&M topped the Hogs 77-69. Check out this nasty dunk by the Aggies' Quentin Jackson. The Razorbacks SEC Player of the Year candidate Mason Jones had another 30-point game in the loss.
Mississippi State did help itself for an NCAA tourney consideration by whipping rival Ole Miss 69-44. Bulldogs held Reb star Breon Tyree to just 11 points. Miss State's Reggie Perry 22-14 in the win.
And LSU destroyed Georgia 94-64. Was not close. Tiger senior Marlon Taylor, he can get up and dunk on your head. He had a career-high 30 on senior day.
Yeah.
Taylor was also the primary defender on Anthony Edwards, who went 1 of 12 from 3 and 6 of 22 from the floor.
Shot taker, not maker.
And Missouri holds Alabama to 33 points below its season average,
Yikes.
rolling the Tide 69-50. It's the fewest points Bama scored since January of 2018.
So now let's take a look at the SEC tourney bracket. As the 1 seed, Kentucky gets an automatic bye into the quarterfinals. We'll play the winner between Tennessee and Alabama on Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern. UK's 12-5 against UT in the SEC tourney all time, 2-0 in the quarterfinal round.
Should the Cats get Bama, it'd be the 5th straight season they've met in the conference tourney. UK 17-2 against the Tide all time in the tourney and 6-1 in the quarters.
Kentucky has won 31 SEC tournament titles. The rest of the league combined has won 28, and John Calipari has a 23-4 all-time record in the SEC tourney. UK's won the title 6 times in the Calipari era.
And you see there, should UK get to the semifinals, it looks likely it'd be either Florida or Mississippi State. Ken Palm's projections give UK the highest percentage chance of cutting down the nets in Nashville, with Auburn second.
Yeah, going into this tourney, bracketology projections have the SEC getting just 4 teams into the big dance. John Calipari calls, well, he says there should be more.
Can I tell you what bothers me? What bothers me? In other leagues, what do they call it? Parity. Oh, my gosh. Road wins in this league are ridiculous. I mean, and I'm hearing all this in our league. Go play Mississippi State. Go have fun. How about go play Texas A&M and the job Buzz is doing? You still have Auburn. You still have LSU. You have Florida. I mean, we should be getting 6 and 7 teams in, and they're looking at these numbers where we would win on the road and our net score would go higher. Like, whoa. This team loses 3 or 4 and their net score stays the same. How does that work? How does our league, which every time we get a bunch of teams in the tournament, what happens to those teams? What do? They win. They win every time. How about the leagues that put 7 teams in and they go 1-6? That ain't our league. This league, top to bottom. How about, I didn't know Vanderbilt won. I said, who'd they beat? And I went back, Alabama on the road. Who beat South Carolina? Who beat us? They beat Alabama at Alabama. Do you understand Vanderbilt had us down twice at half, both games? I think one was 6 and one may have been 9 at half. So.
Wow. Did you see that subtle jab at Duke in there?
Yeah, when he was talking about the metrics, the net rankings, he just said, this team loses 3 or 4, and they stay put in the net rankings. Yeah, he's definitely talking about the Blue Devils right there.
All right, well, coming up next on Out of Bounds is Twitter Fire with a UK flavor. Welcome back. We take a look now at what the world of social media gave us this weekend in sports. It's time for Twitter Fire, brought to you by C2G Environmental.
John Calipari tweeted out this UK athletics photo of the Cats celebration from yesterday's win over Florida. Calipari captioned it, I like my team. Of course he did. Just look at this photo. E.J. Montgomery looks like he just got orange juice squirted into his eyes while trying to hug somebody.
That's awesome.
And here's the post-game locker room celebration. I just love this. Nick Richards had a huge game and his teammates shower him with water. These guys definitely love to win.
Yeah, they're pumped up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And coming up next on Out of Bounds is our Coach's Corner. You got to hear Scott County's head coach after winning the boys' 11th region title last night. We finish up tonight with our Coach's Corner, and usually it's a funny comment. This is more sweet than funny.
Yeah, to set this up, Scott County's Billy Hicks, who is the state's all-time winningest high school basketball coach. He retired after last season, so a tough act to follow for new Cards coach Tim Glenn.
Yeah, especially when you add to it that Scott County lost all 5 starters off last year's team that finished Sweet 16 runner-up. Scott County was not supposed to get back to Rupp Arena, right? And had a 9-12 record at one point this season, but the Cards knocked off favorite Lexington Catholic.
And here is
our Coach's Corner, brought to you by West Shore Home.
From where we started to where we are right now, look, there's things that move me to tears, not too many things. My wife, I'm getting married, the Lord coming in my heart. Kentucky basketball in this moment. Just for this school and this team, these guys just willed their way to win. I'm just so proud of them. It's a beautiful thing to see a bunch of young men come together and do what they've done over the last 3 or 4 weeks. It just really touches my heart.
That's awesome.
So much pressure on him, and the Cardinals deliver a trip to Rupp. Congrats to the Cardinals. That's awesome.
All right, thanks for joining us. See you next week.